if we go onto my website, where's day 35 zip? Examples. Day 35 example zip is what I wanted. You can save the file. And we open it up. There's day 35 classes. So drag it out of there. Because you really shouldn't, you should get out of the habit of trying to look at things while they're in a zip file. It's better to get things out and then you have a clean shot.
Should we delete the other one?
You can delete the zip file, yeah. Good idea. All right, so then I want to look at these in a particular order. Let's look at rectangle. So on your computer, open up rectangle.java and just follow along. We'll just look. So this is, I think, just like the one we were doing. Private int width, private int height. So this is all integrated. And public rectangle, int w, int h, public int get area, return width times height. Here's get perimeter. It returns the width times 2 plus the height times 2. We have a get width. This is an accessor method. This is also get the height. That's it. So any questions about the rectangle class? Just looking it over. This isn't exactly all the parts that I just showed you in the notes, but it has more than what we had. But this a class. We're going to get to where you could sit down and write this in like 3 minutes. You'll just go, okay, I'm going to write a constructor, and then I'm going to write the methods that I need. Boom, 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 save it, done. You know, I mean it's not a race, but we also don't have to spend a lot of time worrying about all the details. Don't worry, we'll practice. Next, I'd like you to look at circle. I mean, you don't have to close the old one, but so here's a circle class. These are all ones we did already this semester in various days. I had you download these files that I wrote. So for a circle, we just have one hidden attribute, the radius. I made it a double. So, you know, you could have a decimal value. This is the constructor, right? See, it says public circle. There's no return type. And it has the exact same name as the class. And all it does is set the value of our hidden variable to whatever we sent over. And get area is the radius times pi. Get perimeter to pi r. See how it's not a big deal? Next, let's look at student. So this is one we did a while back. We're saying in this iteration of a student, we've got a first name and a last name. They've got a double GPA and a double test average. And then notice, so here's the constructor. It says public student, and it says string F for first name, string L for last name, and double G. And so here we're setting the values of the hidden, the private variables to F, L, and G. And then we set this other variable test average to 0. And then this is a mutator method. See, public void set GPA. It takes whatever the user sends over and sets the internal GPA to that number. This would be a place where you could easily do if G greater than 0 or greater than or equal to 0 and G less than or equal to 5.0, then we set it. You know, otherwise we don't touch it because, you know, you don't want to say, oh yeah, my GPA is 20. But that would be, this is why we have a method where you put it all in this one place, where you just say, okay, set it to this, and then it would take care of it. And then for whatever reasons, we had these 3 methods back in probably September. One made a test average variable using 2 test scores, another one did it using 3, and another one did it using 4. So these were just some methods we had. And then any class can optionally have a thing called a toString method, which prints out the information in a neat way that you can control. 2 more to look at. Let's go look at the frog. You'll either remember this fondly or with a little shudder of fear. But I thought the frog was fun. So the frog just has one internal variable, a private variable, the location. And when you create a frog, its location is 0. And then if you just call hop, it adds 1 to the location. If you call hop with with an integer in the parentheses, then it hops that many times. And then we have a get location method that tells you where it is. This is a getter or accessor method. It's telling you what that private variable's value is. And then for our toString, this will make more sense now than it did back then because you hadn't learned for loops, but this is a for loop that puts a bunch of dots and then prints the ampersand sign, like that's where the frog is. I should have had code here that was using all these classes, but it'll be okay. Questions on frog? And the last one, book. Let's take a look at book. So for this book, we have a title variable, an author variable, and an integer for the year. And notice we have 3 different constructors. Constructor 1 is you're creating a book and you don't know the title, the author, or the year it was published. That's quite a book. And so it just says unknown, unknown, and then 0. And then here's you're creating a book where you just know the title. And it sets the other one as unknown and 0. And then here's a book where you create it knowing the title, the author, and the year. And it sets everything. So that's constructor overloading. These are all 3 constructors. I mean, you can have more than 3 different ways to do it. And then we have a pretty little toString that prints everything out nice. So that's just a little tour of 5